Cuphead Show Season Dose. I already tackled Season 1 like a month ago. In fact, that Season 1 video is actually my most popular YouTube video. So, naturally, I couldn't wait too long to get into Season 2. Alrighty, so I don't really have much to say before going into Season 2. I already kind of said all. You can watch my Season 1 video if you really want to hear my thoughts, but pretty much to recap, I liked Season 1 decently enough. It was a good season. I just didn't think it was like the greatest thing ever, and it made me a little worried that Seasons 2 and 3 would also be like that. But now that I finally decided it's been enough of a break to where I can get into Season 2 without feeling burnt out, does Season 2 manage to be good, better, worse, or the same as Season 1? Only one way to find out. That's right, ending the video now! Obviously, I'm going to go through all 13 episodes. Also, fun fact, by one episode, Season 2 was the longest season at 13 episodes. To be fair, Cuphead Show episodes, especially the ones in Season 2, especially when compared to Season 1, Season 2's episodes are very, very drastically in terms of length. Some are 22 minutes, while there are two 22-minute episodes just randomly in here, while others are a few minutes more or less. I actually prefer this, as I think not being forced to use a specific time actually gives them more creative freedom. That out of the way, let's dig in. 1. Jailbroken. The boys are in prison and have conflicting thoughts on it. That's right. We continue from the Season 1 cliffhanger. Again, not going to bother saying what happened at the end of Season 1 because you could just look it up or preferably watch my video to see what happened. I actually genuinely forgot if I talked about the cliffhanger. I should have. I would have been a bad reviewer if I didn't. But yeah, Season 1 ended off on a cliffhanger, and so Season 2 picks up on the boys' adventure. Does it start good? It certainly does. 5 out of 5, baby. We start off on a great episode. It's funny because Season 1 didn't have any 5 out of 5s. The best episodes were that Sweater Trilogy. That was good, but I wouldn't call it pretty good, I'll admit. But it wasn't like anything spectacular. And then bam, right off the bat, Season 2 gives us this great episode. Honestly, I think the best part of this episode is simply seeing the boys' conflicting opinions on the situation. It shows off both Cuphead and Mugman's personalities at their best. It's really difficult for me to really talk too much about this episode because it is simple, but not a bad simple. Call it me just being nostalgic for the series in general, or maybe me just clearly wanting to watch more of it, but I loved this episode. There were some really good moments, like Elder Kettle still being blind after all those months, and just not questioning why Cuphead and Mugman aren't helping him. Then Cuphead saying that weird metaphor, and when Mugman questions him on it, even Cuphead has no idea what it means. Also, Mugman casually cleans prisoners' bloodstains. And Cuphead gets in the electric chair. Never gonna explain that. Oh yeah, and as if it really needed stating, don't worry chat, they out of prison by the end. Sure, maybe the cliffhanger was a bit gimmicky, but hey, at least it brought us this great episode, so I can't be too upset. 2. Charmed and Dangerous. Chalice meets the boys again, but can they trust her? After last time? I forgot to write her in the Google Doc for this. My brain is just mush. Always, never stops. This was one I'll admit I was a bit conflicted on, but in the end I gave it a 4. It's not the highest 4 in the world. I can't really say I love the plot here. It's kind of like, I guess we needed another episode to clear up Season 1's cliffhanger. Especially if you only have 13 episodes, you'd think you wouldn't want to waste unless you're like a super serialized show and not a mostly a semi like a 50% episodic, 50% serialization show like Cuphead show. I sorry, I'm stuttering. What I'm trying to say is I don't think they needed 2 episodes to explain this whole cliffhanger. It wasn't that big, bro. But yeah, I guess we got them out of prison, so now it's only fair to have them meet Chalice again right after. Again, the plot itself isn't amazing. It's pretty much Chalice just joining them, just meeting them again. Cuphead is just immediately is okay with her. Mugman, again, the two of them having conflicting thoughts. Mugman is more like, I don't really trust her. But after Chalice admits that, like, she really missed that, Mugman immediately turns over and is like, oh, yeah, we gotta protect Chalice. Like, I know Mugman's a child, and he's not like a Lisa Simpson or a Kyle Broflovsky, where he pretty much acts like an adult in a child's body, but you'd think he'd have a bit more common sense to still question her after that and not think, she may be, like, manipulating, whatever. Again, what really carries us to a 4 is admittedly the good moments, which I will share now as it is the main reason I even like this episode. Highlights include the boys desperately trying to charm Elder Kettle. Not as funny as them trying to charm that bear cop from the end of season 1, but still funny. The different sayings of prison, and when each of the cops, the boys and Miss Chalice take turns saying different ways to describe prison, and Chalice is like the old hooba dooba, and Mugman's like, oh hooba dooba, that's not even a real saying. And Chalice is like, if you don't know what that is, that's your problem. Like, she was being real sassy. Like, okay, Chalice, girlfriend. You're right, I am too white for this. Also, I'm male, so why am I doing this to begin with? Also, Cuphead and Mugman ride the goat once again, and then ride each other. They are brothers, by the way. And, oh my god, for one of my favorite moments, I even wrote Chalice trying to get Mugman to stop, which sounds kind of dirty out of context, but the moment itself was actually genuinely funny. Oh yeah, and the boys now know that Chalice can be like a ghost. So again, that revealment has just happened already. But Chalice acted like that was a really big deal. Well, I guess you shouldn't say actually it was a big deal, but she just didn't really was willing to help them. But now she's just totally being like, oh yeah, I'm a ghost now. Well, okay, admittedly, maybe I'm making that sound a little too bad than I really needed to, but still, it was a little weird to me. 3. High Seas Adventure. The boys accidentally join a pirate on his love quest. Okay, so this is one of those 22-minute episodes I was talking about. And if you are a fan of the video games, good for you, because here's Captain Brimeybeard and Calla Merlia, Mermaid of the Sea. I remember really hating this episode as a kid, or at least I shouldn't say kid. Basically, when I first watched the episode when season 2 just came out. But now that I finally watched it again, have my thoughts on it gotten more positive? They have. It's a 3 out of 5. Still not good, but I feel like kid me would have given, or I guess younger me from a few years ago would have given this like a 1. So at least I don't hate it. It's just, This episode will never be my favorite, which is a shame because when Alpha J Show ranked all the episodes, I'm pretty sure he ranked this at number 1. Sorry for the spoiler alert on his video, but I said maybe. It's been a hot second since I've seen that video, so maybe I'm wrong. We should just watch that video and support him, and maybe tell you that your old pal Z-Man told you to check out his vid. Or you cannot do that. That's totally fine as well. Regardless, I personally don't really like this episode that much. Captain Brimeybeard loving Calla Maria made no sense. Also, Calla Maria apparently went on a date with him, and forgot. And even when she remembered, she still tries to eat him and the cups. I don't get it. Also, the 22-minute runtime kind of made it feel like they kind of really dragged some stuff out. The plot could have been a bit quicker, and again, Captain Brimeybeard's whole love for Calla Maria made no sense. I talked to one friend once who said she was hot. Never understood her. Like, she is not all that, bro. She's a mermaid. But I guess that's also probably not me not finding mermaids that attractive in general. So it's probably more of a me thing. Also, she tries to eat people and has like no love. That's not. I don't want a woman who does all that, bro. So not as bad as I remembered, but still not a good episode in my opinion. But this is one of those where I can totally get why other people would like or even love this episode. It's really more of a me thing. 4. Another brother. The boys have a fight, causing them to get new brothers. Okay, this one's a 4 out of 5, and I'm not even gonna hide it. It is purely because of Bull Boy that this gets a 4. He was good for the one-off bit and handle with care from season 1, but this episode is just don't mess with Bull Boy. I know in my season 1 video I remember being like really hateful towards him, but now in this episode, oh boy, we don't mess with Bull Boy. No. I'll stop referencing Encanto. Honestly, you know what? That's all I'm going to say, honestly. There's nothing else to add. The actual story itself is kind of generic, but what the Bull Boy saves it. Bull Boy is just... He always has a couple tricks up his sleeve. I'm going to leave it at that. Good episode. I like this one. Oh boy, episode 5, Sweet Temptation. Cuphead meets Baroness von Bonbon in her candy world. How come the only episodes so far I haven't liked are the ones that involve bosses from the game? This is a 1 out of 5. Okay, so it's like this is the first episode of the show that I think is under a 3. It's straight up a 1, literally the worst rating I can give. I don't know. It feels like any time this episode could have been good, it's like they reverse it. So okay, Cuphead and Mugman have a fight. Cuphead leaves and has to learn how to do self-control. He ends up accidentally stumbling upon this candy lane where he meets the Baroness. He decides to try and avoid it before realizing that was self-control. Tells Mugman about it, which apparently breaks the first rule. When the two of them eat all the candy, Mugman eats the castle, which breaks the second rule. They turn into candy, barely escape the Baroness who tries to eat them. Then Elder Kettle presumably eats them, which makes this a whole non-canon adventure. Which actually feels like an old school cartoon, which has been one of the big complaints I've had with this show, that it does not really have that old school cartoon feel, aside from its beautiful art style. I don't know though. It feels like this episode felt creepy and not in a fun. Ooh, gives me shivers way. More in a, yeah, dude, this is creepy. I don't like this type of way. It just felt like a bad episode. At first, you think Cuphead deserves it. It deserves the punishment. But first of all, he dragged Mugman into it technically. And even dragging is a bit of a stretch. He genuinely wanted to help Mugman because he ate his Halloween candy at the start. So I wouldn't say Cuphead or Mugman were completely unlikable. Plus, they're kids. So is it just So I'm assuming this is just a mean-spirited episode, but I don't really want to watch that. Again, mean-spirited episodes can be done right. Homer's Enemy is my favorite Simpsons episode for a reason. But that episode did mean-spirited humor brilliantly. But this one, it's just... Nah, I don't know. This one's just bad. I didn't really like it. There's no redeeming factors that make me even want to consider rewatching this episode. It's just mean and creepy, and neither of those are done in a good way. 6. The Ice Scream Man. Mugman's home alone but gets annoyed with an ice cream man. We go from the worst episode so far to the best episode so far. 5 out of 5. I want to say how much I freaking love this episode and how it's so much better than the whole show before this point, but all I'm going to say is at first, it doesn't seem that funny or that great, but as it goes on, seeing the dynamic between Mugman and the Ice Cream Man is hilarious. Cuphead isn't really in it, which for a show called The Cuphead Show, you think would be kind of weird that the best episode doesn't have him, but maybe it proves you don't always need Cuphead, bro. which is funny because I don't even love Mugman that much as a character, but he really does. He really does really good with this episode. This is Mugman at his best. If there's one episode so far I'd recommend watching the most, it's definitely this one. It's just pure hilariousness. Sorry, I'm moving my slide. Not slide, Google Doc. Slides are what I use to make these thumbnails that are probably garbage. 7. A piano instructor. Piano lesson. Mugman's piano instructor teaches him for Cuphead. Don't have much to say about this one. 4 out of 5. It's the midway point of the season, and it's just good. Admittedly, again, it's a little generic, but there's some good jokes. The piano instructor, I guess his name is Ludwig, feeling the need to remove his gloves, and then has to put on an entirely different pair of gloves, like bruh. Also, Mugman hitting his head on the piano was so real, especially for someone like me who tries and fails at a lot of things. Also, the best part of this episode is easily Mugman totally wanting to cut off Cuphead's hands, which this is mean-spirited stuff done right. It's a quick one-off joke and is really hilarious both with and without context. This is how you do mean-spirited humor right. Literally, that Sweet Temptation episode. Also, Ludwig gets what he deserves for being a jerk, so all is well. Okay, boys and girls and whoever likes watching my content, you know what this is. Halfway through intermission time. Yeah, again, I do these as lives, so just do it. Just skip to the part where I'm talking again. These aren't terribly long though. This is mostly me just getting a quick drink, a quick sip. I'm not sure if you could tell, but I've been trying to say more about these episodes because I always kind of worry that I say too little, I always say too little about certain episodes. Despite being a reviewer, this is really more of just my general thoughts rather than pure reviews. I had to say reviews to give more of a pathetic attempt at being a professional reviewer, but these really are just me trying my best to explain my thoughts on each individual episode and then the season as a whole. Speaking of which, 8. Release the demons. The devil returns and brings his best demons and King Dice to get the boys who are in a hay maze. Yeah, no, I guess after season 1's Roll the Dice, the devil just does not care about King Dice anymore. He's like, are you still here, King Dice? Like, he does not, bro does not care. Anyway, 5 out of 5. This is the other of the two 22-minute episodes, but unlike the High Sea Adventure one, this one actually feels like it earned the runtime. Not the funniest episode, but a pretty good story. It's really weird to me that they waited until episode 8 to bring the devil back. I mean, he was all over season 1, but this pretty much being one of the big reoccurring plotline throughout the show, you think they would have... Excuse me? Does Pepsi make anyone else burp, or is that just anyway? Yeah. It's weird that they waited this long for the devil, though. At least in my opinion, no. Especially given that his whole storyline is like literally the main premise of the show. Anyway, great episode. I love it. Seeing King Dice again was nice. I honestly forgot he was in this episode. Like, I had a bit of a memory of this episode, especially the boys as kids, which was honestly kind of cute. But yeah, now seeing King Dice again was very nice, very welcome. I do remember his season 3 episode very well, but I won't spoil that until I get to my season 3 review, possibly within another month. It's on my list for kids animated show seasons to review. Sorry for not going more in depth about that one. It's just, again, for an episode as great as that, I really wanted to save it for you guys to watch. And again, if you have any questions about it, just tell me in the comments, bro. It's not that deep, bro. 9. Dead broke. The boys make a fake ghost extermination service with Chalice. Again, kind of weird they waited this long to do another Chalice episode. I mean, I guess we saw her only in episode 2, but now we're in episode 9, so you think the wait wouldn't have been as big. Don't really have much to say here. Episodes of 3 out of 5. I don't know. The ending conflict was kind of cool, but for the most part, this episode is kind of just it pretty much is a worse version of the Gumball episode, The Scam. I mean, Gumball is one of my favorite shows of all time, so admittedly, trying to surpass a story Gumball has done is a bit of a difficult task, I'm aware, but still, it really is just a worse version of that episode. And because of that, I don't really have much to say on it, and therefore won't say much. 10. Rats all, folks. The boys and later Elder Kettle deal with a rat. Again, the episodes with the bosses are weirdly weak. This is a 3 out of 5. Honestly, just skip to the... If you're watching this episode on your own, just skip to the part, or try to skip to the part where Elder Kettle starts fighting with the rat, which is Warner Warman. Such a shame, because he's one of my favorite villains in the game, but his episode was just kind of eh. This felt more old school cartoony too, which is a shame because I love old school cartoons. But this just felt like meh, like a weak Tom and Jerry cartoon. If Tom was 2, later 3 of like personalities, and also was able to just casually talk, and so Jerry too, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's why the show's less like an old school cartoon, because they aren't that great at it. Again, just skip to the part with Elder Kettle defeating the rat. That is easily the highlight of the episode. 11. Say cheese. Okay, my teeth are gross. I won't make you look at them. Elder Kettle wants to take a picture with the boys, but it doesn't go well. Mugman and Cuphead being in jail was referenced. That was cool. And Elder Kettle looking like a spider was funny, and that's it. 1 out of 5. This episode's, again, just so mean-spirited and not in a funny way, bro. Like, what is this? Why? Okay, so at first you feel bad for Elder Kettle, but then you realize he does stuff to the boys, like pretending to forget that he has to take them to places. And then also later, it's revealed that he regularly tells his children, one of his 2 boys, that they are his favorite when they do stuff for him. So I don't really root for him either. No one in this episode is likable, and all the characters come off as jerks, and I just hate all of them in this one. Bad episode. It's going slightly above Sweet Temptation, which was the Baroness episode, purely because I think the idea had more of a chance of working. Plus, again, Spider Elder Kettle. That was at least one genuinely good moment. That kind of makes small, I know, but still. Oh, great. One bad episode to another. Lost in the Woods. The boys are... Well, the title explains it. There were no favorite moments. 1 out of 5. You're bad. Bad episode. Good day, sir. Cuphead is so out of character in this one. I hate it. What's his end goal? Just exploding things? He tortures Mug... Well, I shouldn't say torture, but he really... When Mugman tries to show him kindness, Cuphead just hurts him. Like... Probably unintentionally. Well, actually, no, very much intentionally. He locked Mugman out of his own cabin home. A Lost in the Woods plot's already so generic, and this show literally took the worst route possible, making its titled character out of character. Not even funny, bro. Not even good. Bad episode. I know. The Cuphead show is something to really get steamed over. One thing I genuinely do hate about shows is when they feel the need to make a character or characters, in the previous episode's case, out of character, just for the sake of a joke or a storyline. Plots and jokes should come from the characters. Don't force your characters to fit the story or joke. That just makes me like your episode or joke less. And finally, do we get any salvageness? No, well, only slightly. 13, Devil's Pitchfork. Devil leaves his pitchfork so the boys take it. This is filler. 2 out of 5. The first mediocre episode, aka the first one to get 2 out of 5 rating. This is simply just filler until basically making us wait until season 3. It was cool to see the butcher dog from the Ruby and Croaks episode again, but that's really it. Mediocre episode. Again, does not feel the need to even exist. Look, of season 1, at least even aside from the ending, you can still enjoy that episode on its own. But with this one, nah, they're just making you wait until season 3. It's just cliffhanger. In all of my months of reviewing seasons, I have not seen a season so interesting. Cuphead Show Season 2, it's a fascinating creature. I only liked 6 of the 13 episodes, meaning, sadly, I cannot say I liked Cuphead Show Season 2, which is wild because it has some of the best episodes. At its best, it beats Season 1, but at its worst, it's so bad. 3 1s, 1 2. Yeah, nah, you can't really, unless the rest of your season's amazing, you can't recover. I really did think in that first, I feel like starting with episode 8, the season starts to fall. No, not episode 8. Episode 8 was amazing. Starting with episode 9, the season really falls apart and it becomes so unwatchable. I shouldn't say unwatchable, but it really does stop being good. Starting with episode 9, I didn't like any of the episodes after that point. So yeah, the good episodes you should definitely watch, but the bad ones, or even the meh ones, I personally recommend avoiding. This definitely makes it interesting, both when comparing it to season 1, which I will show that overall list in the description, and also now, which is the list. At the bottom, the fact we have 3 1 out of 5s is so disappointing, but they are Lost in the Woods, Sweet Temptation, and Say Cheese. Devil's Pitchfork somehow made it into the top 10 and is the only 2 out of 5. Then with the 3s, we thankfully only have a few. Rats All Folks, A High Seas Adventure, and Dead Broke. Then the top 6, which are aka the good ones. The ones I actually personally will go back to and do think are just good episodes. They are Piano Lesson, Another Brother, Charmed and Dangerous. And then for the 3 5 out of 5s, Jailbroken, Release the Demons, and Ice Cream Man. I already said all I need to. That's the video. Definitely a hit or miss season. Slightly more miss than hit, but still. The best episodes are truly great. The worst episodes are way more abysmal than I remember. Really sad to see this, considering I'm still so nostalgic for this show. Hopefully, season 3 will come through. It will be the saving grace. I hope so. Thanks for watching.